Just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve.com.
Welcome back to JustLeaveItToSteve.com. We're talking about buying a home and selecting the right agent to help you in buying a home, and you have a top 10 list for that. Number 1 on the list, do your homework.
Yeah, doing your homework is very important, Amy. If you don't know what you want in a home before you go looking, you're going to be looking all over the place. So you have to really think about a lot of important things. And it's not just, do you want a 3-bedroom house and 1.5 baths? You need to know, do you need single full living? Maybe you need to look long term. Maybe you're an older couple that needs to settle down, and maybe you don't have to buy another home down the road. So you want something with single full living. Maybe you need something that's easily accessible to the highway. Maybe you need something that's a garage because you have a lot of vehicles or something like that. So there's a lot of things that come into play with doing your homework, and it's not just coming up with those, those basic things, but also knowing too, am I going to be able to find what I want? And knowing the difference between your wants and your needs is a really, really key thing.
Okay. Next is get pre-approved for financing. And I've heard that before, but why is that so important?
You really should have a pre-approval letter when you're making an offer on a house, because it's going to make your offer more concrete to a seller. It's going to make that seller feel like, okay, this person's got financing, I can accept this offer, as opposed to not having something like that. And it also is going to give you an idea of the price range you're going to be in, because it doesn't make sense to look at houses that are $300,000 or $400,000 if you can only afford $225,000. So you want to be, spending your time wisely, and that's really, really important. And getting with someone who's going to give you an honest opinion and give you an honest assessment of your finances is going to be important too. Next
is thinking long term. Why is it important to think long term?
Well, a lot of people don't think about, is this going to be a house I'm going to be in for 2 years, or is it going to be a house I'm going to be in for 10 years? And the house you're buying can really affect that second decision. If you're going to sell a house in 2 years, the house you have may be something that really isn't what you're going to be able to sell as quickly, or maybe even if you need to be able to get out of that house and get something quickly, is where the location of it is. You're selling down the road. Is what you're buying now going to be affecting your sale possibilities down the road?
When it comes to selecting a buying agent, what should people be looking for in terms of experience and education?
Well, experience and education is very important, because you want someone who's worked with buyers before, help them through the process. You want someone who's working in the market on an everyday basis. A part-time agent's fine, but you may not be able to get someone who has as many transactions or experience. So you want to see what they've done for transactions, who they've helped for buyers. Do they have that accredited buyer's rep? Do they have a certified buyer's rep? Those extra designations that help you know that agent has been trained to help me as a buyer buy a home.
Next on the list, you have property search and support materials. What kind of things are we talking about?
You can get a regular search through the MLS. That's fine. On JustLeaveItToSteve.com, we offer a more advanced search. You can actually see the properties on a Google map. You can actually save your properties that you like, create your own profile, save them, set up a bunch of different searches for different property types, and your own personalized search that will email properties automatically to you. You can do some of those things with the general MLS search, but it doesn't give you as much functionality.
Next on the list is agent's presentation. That's something people really should consider when they're trying to select a buyer's agent.
Most agents out there are probably going to just take a look at the house. You may want to consider maybe having a consultation with that agent. If that agent takes the time to sit down with you and do a consultation and really get to know what's important to you and really understand what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve, because if they understand that, they're going to give you better advice. And if they can give you better advice, it's going to help you find the home you want.
And you also have to take into account an agent's personality too.
Sure. Personality is really important. Do you want an agent who's going to want to go out there and look at these houses and have that rapport with the seller's agent to maybe get across what you're trying to convey when you're making an offer, or even just getting those appointments set, maybe getting a second appointment, whatever. They need to have that personality that's going to help them work with everyone as a team.
And you could be spending a lot of time with this person.
Oh, you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person, looking at houses. If you don't find out right if the first house isn't your perfect house, which it probably won't be, you're going to look at quite a few houses. You're going to do a home inspection. You're going to be talking to them on the phone. So there's a lot of things you're going to need to really be able to go over with them, and you want to feel comfortable working with that person.
Now, one thing people should expect their buyer's agent to be able to help them with is current market news. We're not up on what's going on the market necessarily in real estate, but your agent should be.
Your agent needs to be. That's so important. If you don't know as an agent, what is important out there, like, what the rates are, if you don't know what the what the programs out there that are different programs that could be offered to a buyer. Like there are different city programs that they offer that certain buyers qualify for. Knowing what the requirements of those programs are, because you don't want to put an offer on a house that the house doesn't qualify. So knowing a lot of those other things out there in the market and being aware of those things is going to help you a lot more. So that agent should know these things, because they can advise you and give you advice that's going to really help you make a good decision.
And another thing people should look for when selecting a buyer's agent is not just that one person, but also their network of professionals.
Exactly. The network of professionals is key, because you have to have the people that can be there to answer those questions and get you the information you need right off the bat. So if you need a home inspector, knowing who to call, knowing the lender to call, knowing the insurance agent to call, someone who can get you the answers you need right away, because maybe that, knowing if it needs flood insurance on a house, maybe affect if you want to buy it or not. So being able to get those answers quickly can help you get that house that you really want, maybe if you're worrying about someone else putting an offer in. But also, on JustLeaveItToSteve.com, we have a list of professionals that we work with that we are always updating. We're always adding people on.
And rounding out our top 10 list is references and testimonials. People should expect their buyer's agent to be able to provide that for them, shouldn't they?
Sure. A lot of people expect, the seller's agent's going to need to provide references for selling a home, but they don't really expect the buyer's agent to have that. And I think a buyer's agent really should have that, because you want to know what the buyers have thought, what their process was, how smoothly it went, maybe how that agent handled a unique or difficult situation, and how they were able to avoid it and maybe, solve the problem, maybe keep a deal together. Maybe they were able to negotiate a really creative deal that was able to make the seller happy and yet get the buyer the price they wanted to make them be able to, get their dream home.
Well, Steve, thank you for sharing all of your great top 10 tips with us. Of course, that's not all there is to the buying process and the process of selecting a buyer's agent. What should people do if they do have some more questions?
Well, they can click around JustLeaveItToSteve.com and check out all of our tips and the services that we offer. And if you have more questions, you can fill out one of the forms on JustLeaveItToSteve.com, and we'll get back to you and help you in any way we can.
Just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve, just leave it to Steve.com.